on the table. We know there was interest in the offseason, Nick. Didn't work out. Do you think this makes sense now for Brady and or the Dolphins?
Well, I think it makes tremendous sense for Brady. I think that he would have the best weapons he had since he was winning MVPs with the Patriots, the late 2000s, early 2010s. This is better weapons than they had in his time with the Patriots, and I think better weapons than he had his first year in Tampa with Godwin and Evans, everybody healthy. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle have an argument of the best wide receiver duo in football. I also think that for him, he is, I think he probably wants to stay on the East Coast. It's not far from where he is right now. So for all those personal reasons, it makes sense. For the Dolphins, there's a couple questions you have to ask yourself. Are you signing up for Brady, or is it Brady and Sean Payton? Because that's what it was this past offseason. And I think Sean Payton's going to be excellent wherever he goes. But if I'm Miami, I would be a little hesitant to fire Mike McDaniel, but I think I would do it to get the package deal. I think Mike McDaniel's an excellent coach.
I agree.
I understand they lost 5 straight. He has dealt with a lot of quarterback things. I think he's smart. I think the offense is he's very ingenuitive with the offense. I don't know if that's the word, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Ingenious.
And so I like Mike McDaniel quite a bit. But a Brady-Sean Payton duo would be hard to turn down. But here's the other thing, Greg. The other reason it makes sense for Miami is even at 46 years old, Brady's more likely than Tua to play all 17 games. And I feel sick that this happened to Tua.
Right.
But it has happened. And if you're Miami, you've got to plan accordingly. And you wouldn't mean you have to trade Tua, especially if you think it's only a one-year rental for Brady. But I think it makes a lot of sense, Greg.
It does make a lot of sense. And I'll just simply add the fact that when you look at the teams that are ready-made, there's one other team outside of Miami that is probably more ready-made, and that's the 49ers.
Yep.
Right.
And in my opinion, if Brock Purdy makes this run to the Super Bowl with the 49ers, that's out. Right. You can scratch that.
I agree.
The Miami Dolphins then is probably the next best ready-made situation for Tom Brady. And you mentioned, and I think this is probably the biggest, for the Dolphins, you can't take a chance. Again, it's sensitive because it's Tua and it's concussions, but because of all of that.
You can't go into the season with the same quarterback room you went in this year with.
You can't go in the season with the concussions looming over your quarterback that has you in a situation that he's in right now. And I get it. That's not Tua's fault. Right. It's just the reality. It's just the reality of how this game is played and the injuries that are occurred. So if I'm Tom Brady, I'm definitely showing some.
No, I agree with you, Greg. Like, outside of San Francisco, that is the best place, I believe, for Brady to go. They're built to win now, so you can't go into the season with just Tua, because if he gets hurt and now you got either Bridgewater or Skylar Thompson or whoever, your season is done. So, yeah, I love it. And, again, I think Tua can stay there, learn at the feet of the GOAT. And, I mean, you still might have the same questions a year from now as far as his health. But hopefully he'll be able to get back out there after. Brady's only a 1 year, most likely a 1 year deal.
That's a great thought, because if Brady did go to Miami, then you can pretty much, Tua gets a year to kind of just rest.
He's only making like $4.5 million next year.
Right, and he's on his rookie deal. But I'm just talking for his health. Like, you get kind of a year off of just sitting and watching, learning, and you're staying healthy. That's a think about that.
Thank you.
Greg, when you went to Minnesota from the Packers, did the Packers fans like that?
Absolutely not.
How was your reception? Great? Did they welcome you with open arms when you went back to Lambeau?
My reception for the Minnesota fans was amazing. Lambeau, not so much.
I think for Tom Brady, he would pick a rough conference to be in.
Division.
Rough division. I think Josh Allen would get W's. I think when Tom Brady came back to Foxborough, I think it was his worst game at that point as a Buck,
right?
Because Belichick has obviously the playbook on him. I think the Jets are going to be better. I think it's tough to come back to the AFC East emotionally and just practically, that the teams are tough.
Here's the thing. Brady, the teams as it happens this year, aside from San Francisco, because I think the NFC West next year could be a pretty soft division. I think Seattle will be good-ish. We'll see what they do at quarterback, see if they keep Geno as a free agent. But the Rams might be in free fall, and the Cardinals are in utter disarray. Yep. So the Niners, everybody's going to say Niners, but Greg's point is exactly correct. If Brock Purdy, they might win the Super Bowl. And so take them off that chess piece off the board for a moment. The Jets are in the same division. They're ready-made, in my opinion.
They are.
We've mentioned the Raiders. They're in a tougher division. You know what I mean? They're ready-made. And Brady's trying to win a Super Bowl, not just yeah, he could go to it. I've heard people say, what about Atlanta? Yeah, you could stay in the NFC South, stay indoors. To me, that's not going to happen. I do have a question for Greg Jennings, though, however. Who was it that we were talking about that Greg said you'd go play for? I don't even remember. It was a few days ago.
Oh, Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. You said you'd go play for Joe Burrow. I mean, you got some unfinished business in Miami, my man.
Wow.
we can show you. Tom Brady wouldn't be the first great player to be like, you know what? Let me try to wrap it up in Miami. There's old 8'5", looking like young 8'5", doing work.
Roundtree Jennings. Don't get me excited over here.
Yeah. They could use
That
a third
is the
guy.
Roundtree.
Waddle and Hill.
Yeah, that guy doesn't rest in this body any longer.
You're a linebacker now.
Yeah.
I'm a little too big.
Too big. He could go with Gesicki and Craycraft, a little tight ends package.
I will add this though, really quick. Like with Tom Brady, it's all about like being motivated to play. And a lot of us think that just because he goes to a team, it has to be an easy path to the Super Bowl. I completely disagree. If you stack the odds against him, that buys him. He's all the way in. Like he's
But
locked.
yet give him enough
Absolutely.
to win.
Absolutely.
But it'd also be nice to make the playoffs with a losing record like he's doing now.
See, I don't think so.
No.
I think if they end up losing in round one, this year will be just the same as if he missed the playoffs. I think that
go 8-10.
Yeah, but I think he'd rather be on a better team in a far tougher division than be on a mediocre team whose chances are. I think he'd rather lower his chances of making the playoffs, but raise his chances of winning a Super Bowl if he were to make the playoffs.
Okay, and then come back to New England. Coming up next, will Luka outplay LeBron? We discuss next. First things first.
It's tough to watch you
choosing
coming up
between
with
my
these
literal
excuses
sons.
to get him out of.
I no longer will say he's the best passing center since Walton. I think he is the best passing center ever.
Absolutely.
But this is not a great pass.
Not a great pass, but a very good one.
It achieves nothing, is my point.
It's an assist.
No, because Aaron Gordon makes a play. Never mind.
It
Doesn't matter.
wasn't like,
For the
okay, he
record,
rolls up a little bit.
America, if
Wasn't
the
like he had to
MVP
jump 3
voting had
feet
been
in
done
the air.
properly, Nikola Jokic would be right now the leading candidate to win his first MVP.
Then he should be MVP.
No, well, we can talk about that another day. Medal stand, a very alliterative medal stand today. Ja Morant, bronze
My
medal,
guy.
38, 5, and 4, and a win over the Spurs.
Yeah, Ja.
Silver medal, Jalen Brunson, 34 and 4. And you know what? Did a rough draft of the updated pyramid. Jalen Brunson's making it.
Absolutely.
Top 55.
Good
Gold medal,
correction there.
Jalen Brown, 41 and 12. All Jaws or Jalen's on the medal stand from last night in the NBA. There's your medal stand. Great job, Jalen. 41 points. We can show you the medal stand right now. There it is, last night in the NBA.
Thank you.
No problem, buddy.
Mavs at Lakers tonight. LeBron's last 4 games, 37, 25, 43, and 47. Luka's last 4 games, 43, 34, 23, and 39. Bro, both guys have been on a tear. Who has the better game tonight?
I think they'll both have very good games. I think LeBron will go for 30 plus.
30 plus?
In a loss. But I think Luka's numbers, and they'll get the win, will be better. I think Luka's going to go berserk.
I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think
What
Luka's
does berserk mean?
Like
38, 13,
crazy.
and 9.
I know what berserk means.
You didn't know.
I want a numerical value.
I'll let Nick give the
No,
berserk
listen, I think Luka will have the better overall game. But if LeBron scores 35, he gets to 38,000. He's 35 points away from 38,000.
Oh, he's definitely getting it then.
So I want to show you guys something real quick about the leading scorers in NBA history. And I apologize. So Wilt and Dirk are the people who had 31,000. That's how many points per game they averaged the year they got those crossed that threshold. Jordan got over 32,000, averaged 20. Kobe, 4th leading scorer of all time, was averaging just under 18. And then nobody's in the 34s, the 35s. Karl Malone's was averaging 20 when he did it. Shout out to Karl Malone. And then there's LeBron, who's about to get to 38,000, averaging nearly 30 points per game. I know for some reason this is almost like cliche at this point, But what he's doing this year, I know Wild is far more worried about the Lakers, the 2023 Lakers record in the Western Conference at this very moment. But Brew, as a historian of the game, can recognize no matter where you come out on the GOAT discussion, what he's doing is a literal impossibility in sports history until LeBron did it this year. And I didn't even think he could do it this year the way he's doing it.
No, I don't think anybody in their right mind would have thought he was going to play like this. It's unprecedented what he's doing. And if we're not going to have the GOAT debate, but the longevity argument is clearly LeBron's. I mean, there's no doubt about that. That's maybe the best argument for LeBron is the longevity. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Like a compiler? Is that what
Okay.